Deeply awake, Kathy Beck. I'm going to take off my glasses, but we all know by now. If you hear this voice, it's more me than them. So anyway, I'm kind of excited because jewelry is very symbolic to me. I'm very, very particular about what I wear as jewelry. And I have new earrings on. I bought them, I don't know, about a week ago. $1.99 for a pack of 8 pair, and all different sizes. And I couldn't get any of them off the doodad. They were on a plastic sheet, and I couldn't get any of them off, which is a good sign because I tend to lose earrings. I can't. I bought really cute earrings, rhinestone heart earrings, and I wore them to a party, and I came home with one of them, and I didn't lose them, in the folds of someone else's clothing. I just came home and oh no. So I liked that these were committed to the plastics. So anyway, they're feminine and pretty. And I have a ring on my left finger. Well, I hadn't been doing that. And it's a big deal for me to do that. It just is. Always has been. And so for me to put that on again, and really not think about it again. And this is on my right hand, and it says gratitude. There's a story behind this. I left it at my friend Amy's house when we were doing a group massage doodad healing. And I tend to leave, all of my friends know, I tend to leave parts of myself everywhere I go. Sometimes I get them back, sometimes I don't, but I figure what I donate to the world, it's just beautiful, so no worries. But anyway, it was that and a sweater and lots of other crap that I left at Amy's. So we were going to meet at a party, and we did, but I never asked her about the ring. And then it was a bizarre party, and we're hanging out. My date and I are hanging out and chatting and having a nice time. And he looks down and says, "Hey, check this out," and picks up a ring. And he said, "Oh, check it out. It says gratitude." I said, "Wait a minute, hold the phone." And I picked it up, and there was still a little bit of black yet in the engraving. He said, "No, that's my ring." That was the one that Amy brought. So that was neat. So this has really helped me. It saved me my skin a few times when I was having a swirl, because sometimes you just are feeling a lot, and it's really easy to get caught up in it and forget the truth. And the truth is that I'm grateful, even for the pain. So it has a way of, I've talked about it before, praying the gratitudes. I use malas or rosaries to pray gratitudes, and that helps me. It brings me back when I'm feeling low or believing things that aren't true, when I'm out of hope, things like that. And this hand, well, I like this because it's many. It's symmetric. It makes me feel really good. It's fused well. It's fused in a symmetric way. So there's the feeling of continuity, and it's just many. It's many bands as one, and I kind of see my life as that. My life outside with others, that I'm entangled and woven with many, not just with one. So what better ring to have on my left hand? And I started wearing it, in the spring when all this started to really get intense, because it meant that to me, and I didn't feel alone. I felt very connected and very loved, very part of a loving life and community. So I am here because I really totally came out last night. big time. And not in the traditional way. The traditional way is like freaking training wheels for me. No. Last night I was going to go to a party. I was so excited. I had a really, really great, I had a great morning and afternoon. I met a new friend who actually is an old friend. And it's just I'm so happy. So it's such joy. And then I'm looking through my Facebook feed, and I remember, and then I see I've been invited to a really cool party, from by a really nice person who I really like a lot. And there's a lot of people on the guest list who I really love a lot. And so I dinged one of them and said, "Hey, dude, are you gonna go see Are you gonna go to the doodad? I think I might be there for the puja." And so we were gonna meet. I was so excited because I just love him so much. So if he's gonna go, there's gonna be lots of people there who I love. And then I came home, and I was really fatigued all of a sudden. I had like 2 hours of body work. It was intense. It was really, really good. Really, really healing, and it brought me back into my body. And so I said, I dinged and said I agreed. I would say by 7 whether I was going to go with the puja. About 6:30. I think I'm going to turn in. I want you to have every happiness tonight. Have a few laughs. Bye. Because it just. But you know what's beautiful? A year ago, 2 years ago, that scenario, that whole day, impossibility. Not an improbability, an impossibility. So it was really cool. It is really cool. What I've become it meets my approval. So I'm dinging, saying, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go. After having spent a few moments trying to unwind, take a little nappy. So I put on the Netflix, and I scrolled, and I saw, the first thing I saw on the Your List page was the movie Contact. Wow. I don't think I've seen that movie for quite some time. It's too activating. I don't believe that I saw it since 2012. If I had, then bravo. But I can remember wanting to stay away from it because it's so activating. I remember the first time I saw that movie, I had a very, very unexpected and loud and profound physical reaction to the scene of the external Merkaba. So I know I just said a mouthful. I'll revisit that in a minute. There's a scene in Contact. It starts at about 150, where she's going to go on a ride in a device that they received. They, being SETI, received information, pictures, when they were out looking and pinging. They got a ping back, and what they got back was geometrics, which turned out to be a blueprint, and the blueprint was for this machine. So you spend almost 2 hours wondering what the heck that machine's going to look like and what it's going to do, right? It's an external Merkaba. How would I know about that? Well, I was taught about it But it doesn't matter. Had I not, and I'd seen that movie at about 1:55, when my body is shivering and I'm crying and laughing, it's just nice to have had the training, to have had the explanation. So I guess that it would be nice to provide it to others, yes. But suffice it to say, it's possible to make an external Merkaba, okay, for now. That's what we're going to do. I've only written about it once, and I felt ashamed about having written about it, but it was very early on. It was in 12, and I thought, what the hell? There's a lot of weird stuff out there. I'm going to put this out there. And it was something about the history of humanity or something like that. And it was a teaching that I was given. And it's a teaching that I've only heard one other time. So I'm going to talk about it separately. It's time. But I want to talk about this because it is the realization and then the action that I want to discuss that leads to a change in behavior and comportment. Because I saw that movie, I had another, real deep reaction, but I realized, after having had the benefit of all of these meditations and the things that I've learned in meditation, in visions, in dreams, in relationship, in daily life, it's real. That's what she's experiencing on the inside is what I and many, 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 many of my friends have experienced and then reported. I mean, friends that I've had eyeball contact with. And then so many friends who I consider soul friends, who are writers and communicators and speakers like me. What she experiences, the way that you shift, the way that you travel, very mechanistic in the movie, of course. Of course. And there has to be heart-pounding, fear of losing your life, of course, of course, of course. And there's a beautiful scene that shows such beautiful synchronicity and how she's covered. It shows probable selves. It shows how alive probable realities are. How there is no such thing as future and past and present. It's all one, and it's all simultaneous. It's all there, including the best they could, the cinematic representation of the life-altering beauty, symmetry, benevolence, awe. So, I posted that, this is an external Merkaba, but what's happening internally is what really matters, because it's within each of us. It is within each of us. That and so much more. So much more. And it has many names. I've talked about it. I've listed them. Ascension, DNA activation, Buddhahood, Christ consciousness, Gaia consciousness, planetary consciousness. The shift, the awakening, the quickening, the 3 waves of volunteers. Enlightenment, nirvana, samadhi, peace, just being freaking cool with it, being chill. But I know it as ascension. And I, wrote that and then posted it. And it was only with posting it that I realized, I just came out to everybody. I've never really, and then they counseled me then, "Dear one, you have said enough now." Because I was going on and on. I would have very easily been able to do a 3-hour essay after that. It was just coming on full force. And it's, no need. Because, it becomes abundantly clear that the only person really who, this has been an act of integration and discovery. And the joke's on me. Always has been. Because it's just a matter of convincing myself of a few very basic things, isn't it? In the end, accepting some things as possible and true. And I didn't really get it. I didn't really get the scope of it until yesterday. But I began to see yesterday my role a little bit better. And as it's fleshing out, and I like it. I'm okay with it. And I'm very, very proud of my work. And so, I could have not posted that. I could have chosen not to post it. In the past, I haven't ever done it because I'm not going to say anything that isn't true. I cannot walk back a proclamation of being in active ascension. That is that's beyond a karmic no-no. That's just not done. That's just not done. You don't say those words unless, no. They have to be genuine and true. It's just not right to say things like that unless they're real. And I know it's true now. So, and you'd think I would have known that before, when I was pressing the send, boop, and putting it out there. It's sometimes it takes reading it and then understanding the impact that, there are people who I party with, there are people who I care about, there are people who don't know one thing about any of this as it relates to me, and they would never watch a tape. Why would, it's just not their nature. Why would they? But there I am in, a few paragraphs boldly declaring my orientation. So, and with this has come just a profound shift in expression socially. I'm feeling so much relief. It's got to do with what I was talking about, with boundaries, with male and female, with lots of stuff like that, with society versus myself. But that's really what it comes down to for me now. It's been a time of having to regroup. And I could beat myself up about that. If I was really advanced spiritually, then it would just be totally super cool that Trump won, and I could just lord it over everybody, that I thought that would be a really great thing from the get-go. No. Brutality is never a really great thing from the get-go. It's shameful that we're in a place where we feel we need to do that to one another. But here we are. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that's a very adult and motherly way of handling it. Perhaps a teeny tiny bit shaming, sure. Because you know what? Here's the story, morning glory. The person's doing the acting out, having the greed fests and the whatever kind of fests are being had, as the redness gets painted all over America. I don't know, I guess it's just, I get to declare myself too. And it doesn't apply to me. And I've always thought that's kind of irresponsible. That's why I've thought it's really important to be socially relevant, culturally relevant, historically accurate, to know a thing or two about the different sciences as they stand, so that I can speak in a intelligent way and not be tricked by the dark and by thoughts that are restrictive, because they trick you into thinking there's no other options. Tons of options, tons and tons. But I've realized that part of this piercing and part of the solidification has got to do with just what I'm going to see or honor or pursue. Because to not honor something indicates, I think, or implies, that there's dishonor going on, and it's not that way at all. Just if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. And I'm going to be okay with that. So it means that I need to be aware about what's going on economically and socially and politically, of course. I've always felt it's a form of surviving, to be aware of the consciousness, to know what way the wind is blowing. It's sort of a big deal. But I don't think that's true anymore. And that's brand new. Brand new. I can't really stay safe unless I know what's going on with what people are up to, what they think is funny, what they think it's acceptable to make fun at, and do beautiful stories about. What catches the imagination of peoples. That's important. That's like putting your finger on the pulse of a reality, 2222. But now, that's fine. Just keep busy. Do your thing. Do your thing. That's fine. We are fine. Well, haven't I said? Well, the roof's on fire. What? The Rome is burning, and we're talking about this and that. What? Well, that's the thing. It's not burning. It's not on fire. So I want to explain to you what I have seen and come to understand about this. It's been very helpful to have the visuals. When you consider DNA functionality, Lee and Crayon made it very plain. If you want to know where a culture, a nation, a society, a group, a company, a family are at in their consciousness, in their DNA, how can you tell without this machine with the cold plasma? How can you tell? How are the women treated? That's how you tell. That's how you tell. And I can say that is true. It is fact. And I'm saying that from the bones in my pelvis, from the stones in the earth. I know this to be true. And I think anyone who has been a child, who's been tended to and loved on by a mother or a grandmother or an auntie or a woman nurse knows this to be the truth. So, that particular recording goes on to say, well, there's some people around here who are functioning at 27, 25%, 28%. And then there are those who are pushing 40 and beyond. How are the women treated? So I'm thinking about that. And I'm thinking, now just hold the phone here. Let's just put this stuff together, shall we? Let's just review what has happened energetically on this planet in the last 5 years. I mean, you really have to have a blind eye not to notice that something is happening to people, to us. How we could have gotten here. It's an indication, isn't it? I like what Teal Swan has to say about it. Well, this is the age of authenticity. So, who did we choose as a people? Someone who is dirty and lies about it, or someone who's dirty and just doesn't give a shit and just sort of is? We choose the authentic shadow. The one that's really full of shadow. And kind of, it's pretty obvious. And everybody seems to be aware of it. Instead of the one that has their shadow concealed. I thought that was very, very prescient. Very beautifully put. So, yeah, okay. It's going to be a messy time one way or the other. It's going to go faster. It's still not acceptable in my opinion. It's not how human beings should be treating each other. But, given that, I'm allowed. I know better. And if you don't, well, that's a shame. That's one of the reasons we're in this shit pot right now. Education and healthcare for profit? I'm sorry, can you please explain the morality of that? The efficacy of that? How that could possibly assist a society or a people or individuals? Please just explain that to me. In terms that don't make me giggle with your, how deeply you drank the Kool-Aid. That's all. So, it was sort of an us, them, I hate you, I hate myself, I can't stand this, la 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 kind of thing. What came over and over and over again last night, after I had send and come out as a hardcore frickin' Ascensionist who is in ascension status. And I'm afraid the only thing I don't like about that post is that it kind of makes it sound like all of those things are samadhi and, Gaia consciousness and all that ascension, that it's some sort of goal. That is some sort of, you get a certificate, somebody pats you on the head, and then you're suddenly some other thing. Well, it's not like that. It's a process. And the punchline is everyone is in ascension status, whether they know it or not. Sorry to break it to you. You don't have to comply. You don't have to have any conscious intention. You can think that it's the craziest thing in the world and run screaming from it. That's fine. But see you next lifetime. And we'll have another talk about it. You catch up with me next lifetime and tell me how full of shit I was. How about that? So, given that, the question has been, how long am I going to be able to remain, part of the real world? And the answer is, well, for all time. Guess what? It's where you find yourself. So you better get used to it. But I can do it any way I want, and I am beginning to understand how much power I have. Just beginning. And it has nothing to do with anything but just it finally being time. It's just a timing thing. It was a long process. My process started the day of I think it's the short count of the Mayan calendar, October 30th of 2011. That's the day it started for me physically, my innate. Woke up. And then the voices came. And then everything. And I guess what was really good for me was to sort of sit back and let them wash over me last night. Because I really wanted to just keep going, keep revealing, keep talking, keep celebrating everything that I know to be true and that I know is very unusual, that I have withheld or not valued highly enough, I don't think, and hidden just to make other people comfortable and to keep myself safe. Partly because I didn't believe it. So through process of disbelief, testing, believing, I wrote about it. The whole time I wrote about it. I was laying on the bed thinking, and I've known this from time to time. I've known it. I've been able to just step back enough to goggle at the cleverness and the subversion and the power. But what I've done in the last 4 years, it is nothing short of genius. Nothing short of genius. And we all know that genius goes unnoticed at times. It goes unsung and rarely goes unpunished. But that's changing, partly because I have changed. So yeah, I'm a hardcore Ascensionist, and I've been in Ascension status since the 90s. And I remember the moment I was standing on the porch looking into the sun, and it was the 12:12. And I said out loud, it was the 12:12 of 12. I am ascended. Well, that's what brings the process up, because talk to my sister, talk to an old boyfriend, talk to, whatever. How the fuck can you be ascended? You're an asshole. Well, I guess it all depends. I guess the time will tell. I guess that you'll have to just wait on that. Well, you're a hypocrite, because you're not always loving. Yeah, I know that. I'm aware of that. Some of my behavior is unskilled. Yep. Because I was still dealing with coding, and I may always deal with some coding. And so sometimes I will, I would revert to some unskilled shit. You bet. And you know what else? You want to hear the punchline, dear one? I know what skilled behavior is. I know what unskilled behavior is. I know how they feel. I know how they sound. I know how they feel in my body. I know what happens to my life when I do not hold myself to certain standards of skilled and unskilled behavior. I know a lot of stuff. And could it be that this unskilled behavior is behavior that I needed to adapt and take on and do because that's how you reach somebody else who might also be in that position. I don't have a ton of skilled people around me, or I didn't. What does unskilled, dark behavior elicit from someone who is not clear? Darkness, tit for tat, unskilled responses. And sometimes someone who's capable of skilled behavior will choose unskilled behavior to assist the one who is requiring assistance and cannot hear anything that is refined, complex, esoteric. I can say gentle, but I know of some very gentle thoughts that are massive and obliterating. I know full well. It's just not that hard for me to destroy someone. I can go right to their beating heart and pull it out with my hand. I prefer not doing that. I don't do that. There's no need. Everybody gets their heart in their ribcage. That behavior is unskilled. But there's some behavior that it's the only way you can reach people. And especially when I find I'm doing it involuntarily or unconsciously, I know I'm in an agreement. And I don't like being used that way. I just don't like the way it tastes. So I think that's part of the idea of just to close this shift. It's I'm not healing that way anymore. I'm not really going to take a lot of that on, and it's time to focus on other things. I enjoyed, and I will post the Crayon recording called The Next 3 Years, and it was recorded in November of 2013. 2013 being year 1. So they were talking about years 2, 3, and 4. 14, 15, and no. They were mentioning 17. Anyway, the next 3 years. I'll post it so that I won't have to accurately report it. You can listen to it. How's that? The impact was that, yay, it's nearly over. And yes, this is a process that is very, very intense, and I believe there is completion at hand. And part of the next 3 years is remember the first time I heard that recording, and it was a shivery kind of moment. They said, as an old soul, what you're used to doing is pushing. You push against your family. You push against your workplace. You push against your bosses. You push against your friends. You push against what is called common sense. You push against society. You push against. Need I go on? And it has taken a toll on old souls, because you push and you push and you push, and the old energy doesn't budge. And the teachers always said that's how you know to leave. If you are in something and you cannot move the energy, it will not budge. And it's the old stuff. It's just, yeah. Why would you stay? You have to disengage. And that's what Cryon was saying, is that, you're used to pushing, and you're used to knowing how much to push, when to pull back, when to disengage. We know that shit cold. And if you're an old soul, you know what I'm talking about, because you're energetically sensitive. Maybe not with the training I've had or the languaging I've had, but certainly, innately, you know what I'm talking about. And they said, now, listen guys, here's what's going to happen. You're not going to have to push quite so hard. That part is kind of over. You're on the downhill side of it. The wind's at your back. And it's not going to be as hard anymore. And it's going to take time to gradually get used to the truth of that. And I'm living proof, as is my work. Pushing through the doubt, pushing through the testing. And the field testing, I always call it field testing. I'm not going to say, yeah, this works for me. And if you want to try it, well, it worked for me. Unless it worked for me. And, and then it's up to you. It's up to you. And if it doesn't work for you, then don't come back and piss and moan at me. It just didn't work for you. There's lots of other ways. But look at you. You tried something new. Yay! That's a good thing, to try something new. To see yourself as something new. Can't hurt. And that's what I'm so excited about. I just feel so much more confident and comfortable and strong and ready and integrated. So I had a lot of different things I was going to do, but I'm going to surprise myself because I like spinning stuff. So I'm going to spin something. I'm going to go spin. So I'm going to do that. I want to channel really quick, though, first. Because I don't know if I'm going to publish it, but I'm going to have them talk about external Maricopas. And if they want to tell you the myth, I will let them. But it's not going to be on me. It's on them. What they're going to tell humanity about that stuff. It's not on me.